Shigaraki Shima is one of My Hero Academia's notorious villains, having a quirk known as Decay, a quirk that can literally turn someone to dust. But apparently we didn't see that from Aizawa since he kept turning off, he tried his best to try to turn off Shigaraki's quirk so he doesn't turn to dust. So in here, I'm joined by my older brother, Cass Leonidas, and he told me some stuff because we're collabing in this video talking about Shigaraki's tragic backstory, how he became the leader of the League of Villains, and why does he always admire All for One. So let's Detroit smash our way to the story of Shigaraki Shimura. Let's do this. We all know about the scene about in season 3 of My Hero Academia, where All Might was surprised to hear the news about his teacher Nana Shimura having a grandson known as Shigaraki. But when All Might didn't know, he was shocked and he can't believe that his teacher would lie about that. But he could have known if his teacher was being honest. But let's not go into much emotional detail what happened in that scene. Let's just continue on. Shigaraki's grandmother Nana, when she trying to put All for One to jail. She had a son, which currently now to be Shigaraki's father from the manga story, since they couldn't find any information about Shigaraki. All they know is that he's in his late 20s.
Mind if I take over for this?
Yes, go ahead.
As from what I learned from from watching theories on YouTube and looking at certain scenes in the show and reading manga from the online manga, it showed that Shigaraki's father ended up hating heroes ever since his mother placed him into this orphanage, this type of orphanage, knowing that she might die while fighting against the greatest villain of all time,
which is the villain who lived over 100 years.
Technically, because of this, she left a note to him about how she felt and knowing about how the danger is of letting this villain know about her family. So, she tried to cut off all ties, but she didn't know that what she did ended up backfiring on her. Ended up having her own flesh and blood son to end up hating heroes for the rest of his entire life. Until adulthood, until he got married.
Throughout Shigaraki's character, we can see the hands that he has on his shoulders and arms, and the face.
I will end up explaining all about the detail about those hands that Shigaraki has placed on his body.
But first, let's go through his childhood.
During Shigaraki's childhood, he always wanted to be a hero, and he always made that promise to his sister and vowed to be one with his mother because she always cared about him. But with his father, he never wanted him to be a hero because he always despises them. So because of this, he always abused Shigaraki. Always abuses him and beats him all the time because of it. During the last time he was beaten up, Shigaraki was hugging his dog while crying, and because of it, his quirk ended up manifested and was created. And this quirk is none other than the one that he uses throughout the entire series, known as Decay, a quirk that anything he touches with his whole hand, with all his 5 fingers placed onto something, will disintegrate and turn it to dust, like it aged over like thousands and thousands of years.
For that, the incident happened with the dog when it died. the Shigaraki didn't mean to kill it. It was just an accident.
Because of this, because he was just holding his dog, and when he was holding it, and his quirk manifest, the dog started to crack and bleed. When it died, it was nothing but a sort of like a pool of blood. Yeah, I know, morbid as it is, that's what I found out.
You can see he's kind of he's kind of bloody and gory at the same time. This is actually like the first time the creator actually did something like this, show like gore in his anime, such as what happened.
Especially in the manga. The manga has much more details about the characters than we've seen in the show. But we'll talk about this more about this later at a different time about different characters and different scenes in the manga that have been shown in the TV series in another time. But for now, we'll be talking about something else. We'll be continued on talking about Shigaraki, but after he accidentally killed his dog and his sister came in, she was scared, ended up being so scared of him that she tried to run away from him. But when he accidentally grabbed her, he ended up killing her by accident as well.
Yeah, it is an accident. You can't really blame Shigaraki for the mistake he had created. He tried his best to try to fix something, but apparently it didn't work that well.
Yes, and because of this, when his father tried to apologize to him, let's just say it didn't go too well.
And apparently, what happened
is
was
that when his father was trying to apologize, Shigaraki was so filled with bloodlust and rage he couldn't hear his father, and when he grabbed his father's face and sent it to the ground, the massive amounts of power behind that force of his quirk spread out to a certain area of distance around him. Like, for instance, like around only in the area around his house. And for instance, it did not just decay everything, but it also decayed his family and killing them, all of them, including his mother. And because of this, he ended up becoming an orphan at a very young age.
And then when he was alone, people would decide not to go near him despite how much power his quirk has.
Not only because of his quirk, because of how his face looks all crusted up and weird looking. And because of this, they always think that a hero might end up taking care of it. But they thought wrong.
No hero took care of it. Apparently now Shigaraki now despises heroes just like his father did.
And because of this, the world's greatest villain of all time took Shigaraki in under his own wing after finding him. Once he did, he gave Shigaraki gave him this name, Shigaraki Tomura. But technically,
his real name
was
is
Tenko
Shimura. The actual name of Shigaraki Shimura is Tenko Shimura.
But after what happened, he had decided to abandon that name and become the villain he is now.
Known as Shigaraki, the League of Villains leader,
and the one raised by the greatest villain of all time.
The killer of his grandmother, which he doesn't know.
And not only that, Shigaraki, but especially now we're at the part about the hands on Shigaraki's body. The hands are actually the decapitated hands of his family members. So he remembers how much the rage and anger he felt at that time.
Yes.
So technically, he always wears them.
Yeah.
But there's only one hand he always wears on a certain area on his body.
Which is the face. The decapitated hand that belonged to someone. Yeah, that belonged to Shigaraki's abusive father.
And because of this, he ended up becoming the way he is now. And now, speculating, since we're on the Shigaraki theory, many people have speculated in theories about Izuku Midoriya and Shigaraki being related as cousins, but that cannot be possible.
Yeah, one, Shigaraki and Midoriya don't even know each other.
And not only that, they never knew each other as kids. Not only this, it does look like that that Midoriya's mother had the same ability as Nana, but sometimes abilities may be similar, but they're not always the same thing.
Yeah, if you look directly at Nana and Inko's hair color, Inko's hair color is green, and Nana's one is the color black. And a lot of you also speculate that All for One could be Deku's father. One, that's impossible.
Because one, his father is actually is always away on a business trip, and he has the fire breath ability quirk. But in the fight between All for One and All Might, he never used that ability.
Yeah, because
All he
all
technically
he
used was physical enhancement like abilities. Like he changed the shape of his arm. He activated like pressurized air abilities. And not only that, that ability that he had that he would make him fly around was originally Nana Shimura's ability, float or levitate.
yeah, because All for One has the ability to steal quirks from people.
And right before he killed Nana, he stole her quirk, making it his own.
And making it sure he had the advantage against All Might in his final battle.
And not only that, because of this, many people always speculate that. But not only this, back to the Inko and Nana, they may, when All Might said that Inko looked just like his master, minds of her, doesn't mean that she knew about her. They may look exactly similar, but not completely.
Yeah, even though the hairstyle may look similar.
And also their physical appearance, but not completely. Because one, they do have the same type, almost similar type of quirk, but opposite in a different way.
Yeah.
And speaking of the quirk, float and levitate, during the fight with Izuku Midoriya, or aka Deku, against Overhaul, Deku was flying around in the air. Other people think that he was just kicking around in the air because of the air pressure, but no, he was actually accessing the dead Nana Shimura's quirk ability known as float, through the power he was given to by All Might.
Even though I haven't seen the second My Hero Academia movie, my brother's not going to spoil it for me. I want to see it for myself. But yeah, if you look directly at the battle between when Deku and Eri fought Overhaul, you can look closely in the scenes where Midoriya was flying, and it looked like he was. You may think he was kicking the air, but in speculations, in reality, Deku was using Nana's quirk to help him defeat Overhaul.
And not only that, I'm not going to spoil the entire movie, but there was this one scene in the second movie that I saw that also showed a sort of once tiny scene of him floating around. That was above the ground, and when he was teaming up with a certain someone who doesn't want to team up with him.
You're talking about Katsuki Bakugo?
Yes.
To be honest, even though Bakugo hates him, there was one episode of the anime where the pro heroes had to test their students if they were ready, like before the camp arc. So Bakugo teamed up with Deku to go up against All Might, even though All Might has his injury when he was fighting a certain villain. He had no choice but to try to give it his all when he tried to fight Bakugo and Midoriya.
But in the movie, when Midori and Bakugo were fighting, this new villain who was trying to be like the replacement of the greatest villain.
Yeah, because you can see by the mask.
And because of this, he Deku had to do something with Bakugo in order to stop this villain.
And that's for them to team up.
Not only team up, but a certain event they both had to do to end him. But
And
I'm not gonna spoil what it is because I know how my brother does not like spoilers.
And continuing on, I was about to say, the other thing about why All for One cannot be Midoriya's father is because if you look directly at Midoriya's hair, it's the combined mixture color of black and green. And if you look closely at Todoroki's hair, it's the same thing because he had both his father and his mother's hairstyle. Well, colors, I mean.
And for the greatest villain and his brother and his younger brother, they both had white hair.
Yeah, because if you've seen the season 4's finale, when after Overhaul's defeat, Deku went and also against Endeavor versus High End, Deku had a dream when he sees all the previous One for All users, including Nana Shimura. And if you
then
look,
he ends up seeing All for One and his brother.
and we know specifically that Midoriya is the 9th user of One for All, but
especially speculating that the other users before
all died.
before
All Toshiro and Midoriya.
were all Toshiro, especially Nana Shimura is the 7th.
And All Might is the 8th.
So technically, the very first one who had this power was originally the greatest villain of all time. Until he passed it down to his brother, making him the 2nd user.
Even though he didn't know his brother had a power called Stock, which means now his brother can give the power to anyone. But back to what we're about to say. That's why those theories can, even though you guys are speculating because the creator of My Hero Academia may be a Star Wars fan.
A very huge one, in fact.
But he does.
That's a few references that Midoriya is sort of like Luke, and
All for One is kind of like Darth Vader.
And
Shigaraki.
Shigaraki is something else, but and All Might is sort of like Obi-Wan. And Gran Torino was like Yoda.
But there's one thing we need to apply to what's happening is that even though he may be a huge Star Wars fan, there was no information between All for One and Deku because there was no like surveillance stuff about them.
And even including in the manga, in the show, in the very first episode in the series, and in the manga, that the doctors do look similar. It doesn't show that that this evil villain is Izuku's father, because Izuku it has 2 joints in its pinky toe from the very beginning. He's always been quirkless.
Yeah, that means he could not be All for One's son if he had 2 pinky toes.
2 joints in the pinky toe.
Oh, 2 joints in the pinky toe.
And not only that, not everything is always as it seems.
Yeah. Even though
like what my brother said on the final episode of the season 4, when Izuku woke up from his dream, his bed looks like it's fine, right?
Yeah,
but in the manga, it showed that something happened to his bed. His entire room was trashed. His bed and sheets were all torn and charred. Because of this, people speculate this is called a black whip kind of power ability. That because of All for One, because of the power he was given to by All Might.
But that's not entirely true. We don't know what that mysterious thing was, what happened throughout the manga, why Midoriya's room was trash, and why One for All started to activate. But we will soon find out later in the anime season 5 what happened.
Yes, and not only that, this somewhat covers all we know about Shigaraki and Shigaraki Shigaraki and the other theories that you might have hopes on. But we want you all to know, but you shouldn't get your hopes up about certain theories that you've seen or heard, or you read, or you've seen or looked in the show or the manga. Some of them might be true, some of them might not be true, because you might end up being so frustrated about it. So this is why you don't need to have all your hopes up about it.
And all that said, we have to come to the conclusion of this story about Shigaraki and the other theories that was going on in My Hero Academia. The next video, we're going to talk about another mysterious villain known as Dabi,
and his relation to Todoroki's family. We'll be covering that up in the next video between me and my brother. But if you guys want to see any sort of special kind of theories, like theories you want to know that we have some information about,
like Dragon Ball, Sonic, Undertale,
or any other game wise or enemy wise or manga wise, make sure to we will be setting some like goals or subscription goals for those special kind of theory events. But for right now, if you want to have a theory about Dabi, about the relationship between Dabi and Todoroki, me and my brother will somewhat say a like goal or subscription goal, or like a like around 50 or 100 new subscribers or likes in the video between me and his channel. So if you were to able to do that, we'll be able to cover the theory about Todoroki and Dabi.
And all that said, comment down below what's your opinions about Shigaraki's tragic backstory. Don't forget to like. Let's go for 10 likes. Don't forget to subscribe to our notifications so you won't miss videos from me, my older brother. And we'll see you fellow Chimerians and Chaotic Dragons in the next Fandom Theory. Bye.